Volkswagen Rally is brought to you by Motorsport South Africa and its partners Ford, Dunlop, Cecil and of course Volkswagen. There are a number of events on the South African National Rally calendar which have become brands in their own right. As such, we speak not of the Cecil Rally, but simply the Cecil. And it is exactly the same for the event that traditionally serves as the season midpoint, the Volkswagen. Welcome to the windy but friendly city of Port Elizabeth, home in South Africa of Volkswagen, the hub of one of the most spectacular rallies of the year and the backdrop for the 2014 Volkswagen Rally. This is round 4 of the 8-round championship, the point at which things start getting serious. Teams that haven't scored well thus far in the season are fast running out of time, and those teams lucky enough to find themselves at the top of the standings need to dig even deeper now to retain their lofty positions. So far, Class S1600, South Africa's premier rally class for vehicles with engines up to 1.6 litres and front-wheel drive only, has seen only one winner in 2014, Guy Bottrell. With Simon Vasilyle beside him in the navigator seat, the Durbanite pairing has piloted their Yato-supported and locally built Toyota Etios to 3 wins from 3 starts. So for Bottrell, the Volkswagen is an opportunity to make history by taking 4 wins on the trot, and also all but cement the championship in his favour. But the forest of the Longmore, which still form the heart of the rally despite the addition of 4 new stages, is as fearsome as they are legendary, and nothing can be taken for granted here.
Well, we're going to have a go for Water 4, but this is a serious rally, so we're going to take it a bit easy, just see the pace of the other guys and just try and make sure we don't make any mistakes.
To make life even hotter for Bottrell, he has a host of competitors that are growing increasingly hungry for a win. And some of them are really very quick too. Ashley Haig-Smith and Damien van As in their AHS Ford Fiesta R2 is one such pairing. As a former class champion, Haig-Smith is growing ever more frustrated at his relative lack of results in 2014. Still, he is lying tied second in the championship going into round 4, so all is not lost by any means. But then again, any one of a number of competitors could rain on Haig-Smith and Bottrell's parades. Richard Leek in the ATS Ford Fiesta R2 has shown great pace on recent events, while Chad van Beerden in the Beerden Volkswagen Polo R2 is no slouch either. Young Ernie van der Walt in the Ferrodo-supported Ford Fiesta R2 is another name to look out for. And if his little French car will just hold together, Citroën C2 R2 racer and defending champion Clint Weston is always in with a shout. So there can be no doubt that Class S1600 remains one of the most hotly contested formulas in modern South African motorsport. But then again, much the same can be said for Class S2000, where the fully grown 2-litre 4-wheel drive rally monsters do battle. And here's how that class played out on the Volkswagen. It all started with one of the brand new stages, a 16.45 kilometer long dirt track near the well-known racing oval near Greenbushes, west of PE. The stage itself is custom made for rallying and features fast and flowing corners with plenty to entertain both the crews and the spectators. Unfortunately, the track was extremely dusty, which had a major influence on the outcome of the event. The frontrunners had a clear advantage over the rest of the field. Both Japie van Niekerk and Mark Renier posted good times in their Ford Fiesta S2000s. For Castrol Team Toyota driver Leroy Poulter and navigator Alvin Coetzee, however, the dust was a major factor. Not only did they catch up with their own dust on the stage, but a problem with the Yaris S2000's air scoop caused clouds of choking dust to billow into the cabin, reducing Poulter's visibility significantly. He lost 6 seconds to Cronje on the stage and never quite managed to get back in touch with a flying number 24. But that was on stage 1. In between that and the dust settling after stage 15, there raged a battle of epic proportions that saw the top drivers trade blows on an ongoing basis. And everyone got in on the action. Henk Lategan, with Barry White next to him, led the early Volkswagen Polo S2000 charge and remained in touch with the front runners. But contact with one of the many tree stumps in the forest forced the pair to retire. Things went much better for Dutch and Belgian pairing of Hans Weiss and Bjorn de Jandt in the second Volkswagen Polo. The pair posted top 5 stage times throughout the event, bagging a 3rd place overall in the process. In the end, the battle for the top step of the podium never really happened. Mark Cronje and Robin Houghton went fastest on stage 1 and retained the lead of the rally right to the last stage. A valiant effort saw Poulter and Coetzee edge closer to Cronje at times, but never close enough to really mount a charge for the lead. And so it was Cronje who took his 2nd win of the season, with Poulter in 2nd and Weiss in 3rd. And a whole lot of broken and battered egos lying on the side of the road. This was a rally with a high attrition rate, and some of the big names that failed to make the checkered flag include Van Niekerk, Boomschlager, De Villiers and Himmel, all of which opened the door for the guys in class S1600 to sneak onto the leaderboard with the big boys. But before we get into the action, here's a quick look at how the crews in this class stacked up before the start of the Volkswagen Rally. His unblemished start-to-win record placed Bottrell at the very top of the pile, well clear of Van Straten and Hake Smith, who were tied for 2nd place. Basie Lyle and Leek were still in touch with the guys in positions 2 and 3, but it was clear from the outset that another win from Bottrell would all but seal the season. And that's exactly what it looked like the young Toyota Etios driver had in mind, as he flung his Yato-supported machine through stage 1 in a time of 13 minutes 21.6 seconds. It was immediately clear that the time was good, but he wouldn't know how good until the next cars finished.
Very dusty, very rocky, but I think it went alright. We didn't make any mistakes.
By the time the next fastest time was on the board, it was obvious that Bottrell was yet again on it. He had pipped Ashley Hake Smith and navigated Damien van As in the AHS Ford Fiesta R2 by a full 8 seconds, though Hake Smith was clearly still keen on a fight.
Yeah, we're going well. We're going to push on for our next game plan.
Richard Leek and Rikus Fourie came through next fastest in the ATS Ford Fiesta, just 2 seconds down on the time posted by Hake Smith.
It was very slippery, but wasn't too bad.
Just a second behind Leek came through Matthew Basie Lyle and Schalk van Heerden in their Fragram-supported Toyota. The pair led Paul Franken and navigator Henry Kerner in the Manitou Volkswagen Polo, and Chad van Beurden and Nico Swartz in the Beurden Volkswagen Polo to the end of the stage. Van der Walt, Heine, Potgieter and Coetzee all followed. Next up was the first of the fearsome forest stages, in the form of the 19.1 kilometer long Culturama. For many years, the Longmore Forest has represented the holy grail of South African rallying. The forest tracks are fast and flowing in most places, with plenty of sharp bends, rocks and tree stumps to catch out even the slightest errors. But errors clearly weren't on the early agenda for Bottrell and Basie Lyle. The pair proceeded to post their 2nd successive stage win by posting a time 3 seconds faster than that achieved by Van Beurden and Swartz in their Volkswagen Polo. Van Beurden in turn pipped Hake Smith and his navigator Damien van As also by 3 seconds. Ernie van der Walt was just ever so slightly further back and was followed through the stage by Matthew Basie Lyle, Richard Leek, Paul Franken, Andrew Heine, AC Potgieter and Chris Coetzee. Interestingly, only 6 seconds separated the top 5 on this stage of nearly 20 kilometers, showing again just how competitive class S1600 can be. After the 2 openers, crews were afforded the opportunity to visit the Dunlop Service Park for a quick top-up and repair before heading out to the Gamtoos Valley for the running of Stage 3. Known as Gamtoos, Stage 3 offered 15 kilometers of fast gravel racing for Guy Bottrell and another opportunity to build on his early lead. The youngster again went fastest, posting a time some 6 seconds quicker than Ernie van der Walt in the next fastest machine. For Bottrell, it was a great start to arguably the year's toughest rally.
And about midway I hit quite a big rock, so the whole time I was pretty hesitant. I didn't know if I had a puncture or not.
Chad van Beurden posted the third quickest time on the stage, another 6 seconds down on van der Walt. But while Bottrell was racking up the stage wins, it was a bit of a ding-dong affair further back. The main blows may have been traded between van Beurden and van der Walt, but Matthew Basie-Lyle and Andrew Heine was still very much in with a shout. Punctures were also in evidence on stage 3, and Richard Leek in the ATS Ford Fiesta lost 26 seconds to Bottrell. To make things worse, the gearbox in his S1600 machine started acting up, all but putting the writing on the wall. Stage 4 came next without the benefit of service in between. Known as PPC, Stage 4 was a 23-kilometer monster stage, which was sure to test the teams to their limits, and beyond in some cases. For Guy Bottrell, Stage 4 was very nearly his undoing, as the Yato Toyota Etios R2 suffered a broken side shaft. Bottrell and navigator Basie-Lyle managed to nurse their stricken machine through to service, but lost a chunk of time in the process. Waiting in the wings was Chad van Beurden and Nico Swartz in the Beurden Volkswagen Polo. The pair won the stage convincingly, posting a time some 12 seconds quicker than that of Ernie van der Walt in the Ferodo Ford Fiesta, who was second quickest. Matthew Basie-Lyle was another 12 seconds behind van der Walt, and Ashley Haig-Smith 5 seconds slower than that. AC Potgieter and Chris Koetser completed the S1600 lineup. So despite their strong start, Bottrell and navigator Basie-Lyle found themselves in fourth after 4 stages, just ahead of Haig-Smith and Van Aas. But Bottrell's misfortune was Van Beurden's gain, as the youngster moved into the lead of the Volkswagen rally. Ernie van der Walt was having a great event, as was Matthew Basie-Lyle and Schalk van Heerden in the Fragram Toyota. By now, the sun was nearing the horizon, and all the crews were feeling battle-scarred, some even broken. But after another quick stop at the Dunlop Service Park, it was time to face the final gravel stage of the day. Stage 5, Mellon East, was comprised of 10.2 kilometers of twisty gravel, and with the sun starting to dip, it was run in near darkness. With his problems of earlier now behind him, Guy Bottrell was immediately back on the pace. His time through stage 5 was 6 minutes 52.2, 4 seconds quicker than Matthew Basie-Lyle in a similar Toyota Etios.
That was a good stage. It's getting dark, so it's getting a bit tricky.
Chad van Beurden struggled in the low light and lost 14 seconds to the resurgent Bottrell in the process.
We were a bit cautious with it's getting a bit dark, but yeah, I think we're happy.
Ernie van der Walt remained in touch with the leaders.
It was very dark, I don't know the time, but it was quite a fun.
Andrew Heine was still going strong, though Ashley Haig-Smith's woes continued further back. For Richard Leek, stage 5 all but spelled the end of the rally as he continued to fight with the gearbox in his Ford Fiesta. With the night firmly enveloping the Volkswagen rally, the action moved to 2 popular tar stages in Jeffreys Bay. Firm crowd pleasers, neither stage promised much in terms of influencing the outcome of the rally. And with only 5 seconds separating the top 5 teams on stage 6 and 10 seconds on stage 7, it was no surprise that all the frontrunners simply held station. This meant that Chad van Beurden and Nico Swartz would end as overnight leaders, with an 18-second buffer over the hard-charging Guy Bottrell and Simon Basie-Lyle. Van der Walt was in third, still very much in touch, with Basie-Lyle and Potgieter completing the top 5. Join us again after the break as the 2014 Volkswagen Rally draws to an exciting conclusion. So far, the 2014 S1600 Championship has had only one name in lights, that of Guy Bottrell. But for the first time this year, day 2 of the rally started with a different name at the top of the leaderboard. Chad van Beurden was the man in the driver's seat, and he kicked off stage 8 with an 18-second lead. The stage may have only been 2.2 kilometers in length, But despite its status as a typical crowd-pleasing super special stage, Van Beurden managed to extend his lead over Bottrell by 6 seconds, a lifetime on such a short stage. To make matters worse for the Yato driver, Bottrell was only the 6th fastest driver on the stage, with Ernie van der Walt, Chris Koetser, Matthew Vasilyle and Andrew Heine all going quicker than him. Not the greatest start to his fight back then. Stage 8 was followed by a second run through Mission Road, better known as Stage 1. But this time the stage was configured for a distance of only 14.7 kilometers. Not massive by any means, but clearly more substantial than the Super Special. This time the two names at the top of the stage standings were the same as the two names at the top of the S1600 standings, Van Beurden and Bottrell. But somewhat surprisingly, it was still Van Beurden who was in control, taking another 9 seconds from Bottrell and building a comfortable buffer between them. His lead was now up to 33 seconds, and it was clear that he wasn't about to relinquish a single second without a fight. Hake Smith came through third fastest, followed by Heine and Potgieter, with Ernie van der Walt behind him. In the meantime, the attrition rate in the class had grown, and Matthew Vasilyle, Richard Leek and Paul Franken had all succumbed to the ravages of the Volkswagen Rally. On to Stage 10 then, another run through the Super Special that featured as Stage 8 just over an hour earlier in the day. Bottrell had clearly learned from his first run through, as he improved his time through the stage significantly, claiming another stage victory and clawing back 7 seconds from Van Beurden in the process. It was clearly game on between the two, though Hake Smith, AC Potgieter, Andrew Heine and Chris Koetser all posted excellent stage times, keeping the two frontrunners honest throughout. But to be honest, the first 3 stages of day 2 were really nothing compared to what lay ahead. 4 massive forest stages, which would undoubtedly decide the winner in the dice between Bottrell and Van Beurden. The first up was Stage 11, a second running through Culturama, just shy of 20 kilometers of gravel mayhem up and into the long mall. The pace through the forest was hot, with Chris Koetser in the Electro Thread Toyota and AC Potgieter and the Volkswagen Polo both going very well. They were beaten, however, by Andrew Heine in his Volkswagen Polo, as well as Ernie van der Walt in the Ferrodo Ford Fiesta. But the two quickest men through the stage were once again Van Beurden and Bottrell. The big question, however, was who was the quickest. Chad Van Beurden came through a healthy 12 seconds faster than Ernie van der Walt, who posted the third fastest time.
It's okay, this was a tough stage. Guys catching us.
It was a very fast time for sure, but still 13 seconds slower than the time posted by Guy Bottrell and Simon Vasilyle in their Yato Toyota Etios. The pair clearly showed their intentions, though Bottrell was supposedly conservative in his approach.
C150.
Car's feeling good, there's no problems with the car at all.
After stage 11, the crews were finally given the opportunity for some rest and repairs with a visit to the Dunlop Service Park. But for the lads at the top of the standings, it certainly wasn't time to relax. Van Beurden still had the lead, but despite putting in some stage-winning times, he only had a 13-second buffer over Bottrell, going into the last gaggle of stages. Van der Walt was safe in third, with young AC Potgieter doing well to peg fourth. Andrew Heine and navigator Robbie Coetzee rounded out the top 5. The gloves were clearly off now, and both the leaders came out swinging on stage 12. With a distance of only 10 kilometers, this stage can be deceptively tricky. Not that it seemed to bother Bottrell too much, as he nicked 7 seconds from Van Beurden on this stage. The lead was now down to just 6 seconds, with only 2 proper stages to go. The rest of the field was somewhat drowned out by the noise of the battle for the top step of the podium, though Heine, Van der Walt and Potgieter all posted competitive stage times. Stage 13, a second run through PPC, offered 23 kilometers of real forest racing and a great opportunity for either of the leaders to cement victory. And that's exactly what Van Beurden did, with a blazing drive that saw him post the 4th fastest overall time on the stage. The young Volkswagen driver took 10 seconds out of Bottrell, pushing his lead back up towards safety. For Bottrell, the stages were now unwinding. there was just one stage left to go and a lot of time to make up. 16 seconds to be exact. Every eye on the rally turned to the battle for the win, to be decided on stage 14. As the last forest stage of the event, St. Dom, as stage 14 was known, was 18.9 kilometers in length. Plenty of distance then to make up time, or make a mistake. Glory or infamy, it all came down to this. Chad van Beurden was first into the stage and he knew he had to push hard enough to maintain his lead. But be cautious enough not to stick the Volkswagen Polo into the stunning scenery. He posted a time of 12 minutes 6.3 seconds and was cautiously optimistic about his performance.
I'm not sure, we're gonna wait and see. Guy's been on it today, so we'll see.
And so too Guy Bottrell and his navigator Simon Vasey-Lyle. Remember, this is the crew with a perfect start-to-win ratio in 2014. 3 wins from 3 starts. Their season was in top gear, and even a second place here would all but place them out of reach of anyone else in the championship. No need then to throw caution to the wind. But then again, he who dares wins, and so into the laps of the gods went Bottrell and Vasey-Lyle. Turn after turn, kilometer after kilometer, like a demented bat out of hell he went. Caution be damned, it was clear that the pair were either winning this thing or going home without any points. But they made it through the stage without so much as a scratch and posted a time of 11 minutes 40 on the nose.
We're at the end, so I don't know what the times are like with Chad, but it's certainly going to be close, I think.
And then everyone's calculations were done. Guy Bottrell and Simon Vasey-Lyle had done the unthinkable. They'd taken 26 seconds from Van Beurden on the final stage, taking the lead and sealing a 4th consecutive win.
Did I take it? Yeah. Oh, wow.
1, go.
Granted, there was still the small matter of stage 15 at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. But at only 2 kilometers in length, there was zero chance of Van Beurden making up all the time he lost on the previous stage. So it really was just a formality for Bottrell and Vasey-Lyle to complete the stage. They lost a single second to Van Beurden and Swart, but in the end it hardly mattered. And here it is then, confirmation of Bottrell's 4th consecutive victory in Class S1600, with Van Beurden left 11 seconds adrift. Van der Walt drove an excellent rally to secure 3rd, with AC Potgieter and Andrew Heine both showing that they have what it takes to crack the top 5. For Bottrell and Vasey-Lyle, the champagne must have tasted extra sweet from the top step of the podium. For a mad 11 minutes and 40 seconds, they charged through that final gravel stage and reaped the glory as a reward. For Van Beurden and Swart, it was a case of so close and yet so far. The pair drove an excellent rally, but let their guard down at the critical moment. And Ernie van der Walt with navigator James Aldridge had every reason to be proud. But in the end, it was Bottrell who had the most reason to smile.
Yeah, we're very happy with the results, very happy with the car, and it was just a great event to be a part of and obviously win it. So we're very happy. Team did a great job.
Next up is the Cullinan Rally held in and around the town itself. Back in Gauteng, this event promises a mass of red dust and frantic action, but it is also the first of the last 4 events of 2014. Now that might not sound like anything special, but if anybody plans on catching Bottrell, they'll either need to step up in Cullinan or settle for something lower down the order. All the rally action from the 2014 Volkswagen Rally was brought to you by Motorsport South Africa and its partners Ford, Dunlop, Sasol and of course Volkswagen.